Have you ever thought about the fidelity of a dog is able to risk everything to save someone you love? Picture the scene. One day, a routine and a quiet until something unexpected happens. Have you ever gone through this? The one moment in the life of a person is dependent on a fast-paced action, a decision that can make a world of difference. Right now, try to imagine that the decision which was taken by one who, though not to speak it, can communicate the urgency in a way that no words can express it. Looks like a scene from the movie, isn't it? But this story is real, and it has the intelligence and the loyalty that dogs have for their owners. In the story, we're going to tell it starts with a simple but strong. A man who years ago lived with his faithful canine companion. It goes through a difficult situation. He was coming back from a trip or even at home when all of a sudden something happens. A pain, a sickness, sudden, and that leaves him incapacitated, unable to call for help. At this crucial moment, what happens to your side? It's something amazing. The dog, sensing that something is wrong and acts instinctively and decisively. Have you ever gone through a situation where you needed help and no matter how he tried, he was unable to call for help? This is a very good experience and often painful. However, in this case, the main character is an animal that, if they do not understand the complexity of what's going on, can't you understand the gravity of the moment? And what does he do after that is just an act of loyalty, but with a demonstration of a form of intelligence that goes above and beyond what many can imagine. Stay with me until the end, because the story that you are going to listen to now, it may surprise you and even change the shape as you see these four-legged friends. What are you going to find out right now? This is a story that shows how the connection between humans and dogs beyond the words, to reach a level of understanding and commitment that you feel emotions deeply. It is a story of bravery, loyalty, and a protective instinct that makes us think about the true meaning of friendship. Get yourself ready to see a sample of his unconditional love and action that is, without a doubt, worthy of being shared. And remember, this story is not over yet. It has a lot more to come. And then the next chapter is going to take you on a discovery that may get you inspired to appreciate even more of these people with incredible next to her. If this story has touched your heart in some way, and I'd really like to hear from you. Leave in the comments your opinion, share an experience that has something like this, or even this story has awakened within you. Your participation is very important, that this space will continue to grow, bringing messages of love, hope, and connection to more and more people. Enjoy Video It is also a way to strengthen the community by helping others find inspiration in the stories just like this one. When you subscribe to the channel, it shows that you want to keep up with this kind of content, and that you value the stories that foster empathy and reflection in our daily lives. Every comment, every like makes a big difference, so that we can continue bringing you stories that are real, exciting, and transformative, and that remind us of the power we have to make a difference in someone's life. So if this is the narrative resonated with you, don't hesitate to share your impressions. Your voice is what keeps this chain of positivity and hope is always alive. And it gets to me because there's still so much to come on this journey of discovery and emotions, which I am sure will inspire you even more. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is the truth which is hidden by the back of our decision-making is often hidden in the details that we don't notice right away. When we think of change, many times, imagining the great changes in the external material gain, or even a new routine. But in essence, it all starts from the inside, in our minds, in the way we see the world and ourselves. And it is precisely at this point that many people miss, because it's about real change requires an honest look at your own beliefs, to the standards that have been built up over time, and that too often, they work as a prison. It is invisible. The journey of self-discovery is, in effect, a series of revelations that are going to happen to the few, and often without any notice. It's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, where every piece is an experience, an emotion, or a judgment which, properly seated, and reveal a new perspective. And in the process, we come up with the whole thing. The first few questions are about what is really important. Many of the times, we are caught up in a routine that seems to secure, but in fact, it is a trap that keeps us from moving forward to exploit the full potential that lies within each and every one of us. And so, when we ask, opening your eyes to the truth that is hidden, it all starts to make sense in a way that is different, brighter, more authentic. The change, therefore, it is not something that happens from one hour to the other, but rather to a building on a daily basis. Each and every decision, however small it may seem, it has a huge impact on our development. And it's at that point that comes to the importance of understanding one's own motives, to recognize what really drives us. Many of the people who live in the stems, followed by the expectations of others, and trying to fit in a way that is imposed on you by society or their families. But in doing so, they end up running away from who you really are, your dreams and your passions. And it is this disconnect that often feed on the dissatisfaction and the feeling that something is missing. On the other hand, when we allow ourselves to explore our deepest desires, when we begin to listen to our inner voice, a transformation from quiet start to happen. It's as if the light was on inside of us, lighting up the paths which before seemed to be hiding in the shadows. And in that light, it brings a sense of hope, of possibilities, of a new phase in which it can be built up step by step step-by-step instructions. And what is more interesting is that the journey doesn't require perfection or radical shifts in an instant. She's asked for, in truth, the courage to face up to the truth, the more uncomfortable she is, and the determination to move forward, even when your path seems in the air. The impact of these revelations go beyond the individual. When we begin to understand that it is our decisions that shape not only our own destiny, but also had an impact on the people around us, it is a new position comes up. And it is liberating, because it gives us a chance to rewrite our history to create a story more in line with our values and dreams of the authentic ones. That's what the power of transformation and conscious, and that it is not localized, but rather a mindset, which solidifies with time. And it is precisely this understanding that you are the greatest signs, the ones that help us to break out of what limits us and to embrace who you really are able to achieve. I now want to go more in depth on this topic because they understand the impact of our choices is one thing, but to uncover the layers are hidden from the mind is another thing altogether. Too often we carry insecurities, fear of failure, doubt, and of their own potential, and all of this in a way that is so natural that we end up believing that these things are part of us, when, in fact, are the constructs which can break down. It's a real internal battle, where the self becomes a powerful tool of release. When we are going to comply with the standards of honesty, you start to realize that they are not absolute truths, only stories that we tell ourselves, and the stories that it can be rewritten. And in this rewrite it, a process that courage is a decision and a daily challenge, and what we have is limited, and is always looking for new perspectives. Many people are scared to leave what is familiar, even if the family member is in a cycle of dissatisfaction. But when you look at the behind the scenes of this story, we see that our true freedom lies in challenging the status quo, to question what we've been taught, and in creating a different meaning for what is success and happiness. After all, it is the greatest truth concealed is that it all starts in our minds, and in our willingness to transform limiting thoughts into actions that lead to something more in tune with our dreams, with the most profound. This is a journey of self-discovery, then, is a call for courage to look beyond the surface and explore the emotions that too often we avoid, and to face the fears that prevent us from moving forward. When we do this, we find that the limits that we believe to have was, in fact, an illusion created by the mind which has not yet been released. So think outside of the box. And when you break through the barriers built in, open the way for a new vision of the world, a view that emphasizes the value of human potential and the capacity for transformation that lies within each and every one of us. It is these revelations that fuel our growth, and that the heat of the journey, and that ultimately connect us with the one universal truth. We're all capable of so much more than you think, and just allow us to see beyond the surface and embrace the journey of courage and hope. And it is precisely at this point that the story still has a lot to prove. For every step taken in the direction of self-knowledge and the transformation it brings a new layer of understanding, a new perspective can change everything. And even though it may seem difficult or confusing, but that's the beauty of the journey. It is true. It is never linear. It is made up of highs and lows, discoveries and new beginnings. But at the heart of it all, there is the opportunity to reconnect with what really matters to you. You understand that your change is not a matter of luck or fate, but it's a conscious decision to become the best version of yourself. And in the meantime, we are following the journey to learn, to evolve, always with an eye to this truth is hidden. Once it was revealed, it has the power to transform lives from the inside to the outside. I now want to go more in depth on this topic, because this is a journey of transformation in which we are living. It is not only about the changes in the surface, or by following a magic formula that promises fast results. In fact, it's an immersion in one's own essence. Take a dip in the layer are hidden from our way of thinking, and oftentimes are the roots of our blockages, fears, and doubts, the most quiet in operation. It is in the internal space of the house where the real battle takes place, and understanding it is key to any decision to change, to be truly sustainable. Along the way, we realize that the choices we make every day have a direct impact on the quality of our evolution. Every choice, every thought, every action is like a seed that we have planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious. And then, just like a tree that is strong is born from a clean, well cared for, our transformation depends on a solid foundation, built on a new mindset. It is necessary to uncover the hidden truth that often prevent us from moving forward, such as limiting beliefs that entrenchum in our minds over the years, sometimes without notice. These beliefs, which seem to be harmless, it actually helps to shape our decision-making and to define the impact of what we can and cannot achieve. The real key is to recognize these hidden truths, often disguised as a justification or an apology. And, in doing so, we were able to open up the space for transformation to true. This is the opening, the act of coming to grips with his own essence. It is about having the courage. It's not easy to admit that we are often the main obstacle to our growth, but it is precisely in this moment of vulnerability that we get to build a new narrative, a story marked by self-confidence, and the realization that we are the authors of our own destiny. This is a process of self-knowledge, acting as a sort of revelation of behind the scenes of your own mind. When we begin to understand the inner inner workings. We come to see with more clarity on the decisions that will lead them to the front or to the back. And at the same time, we learn how to use this awareness to our advantage, creating strategies to strengthen our minds and feed them to our provision. It is as if we are dismantling a bit of a puzzle piece by piece to reveal the true image of our true potential. Along the way, each and every small step forward is a victory, every insight, and a key that opens doors to possibilities previously unimaginable. For this reason, this quest requires you to make a delivery, sincere, and a willingness to face your own shadows, and make what seem to be insurmountable to an opportunity for growth. From the moment we start to question our own truths, we come to understand that change is not a matter of chance, but for decision-making. And when you make that decision to become the best version of yourself, we are actually giving a decisive step in the direction of living a life more full, more authentic, and more in tune with what really matters to you. It is a transformation that comes from within, and that the impact of our actions, and that in turn echoes the journey, illuminating behind the scenes of a reality that has always been within the reach of the one who allows you to see beyond the surface. And if you think about all of this, it is clear that the impact of this change will go far beyond the results of the moment. It is a silent revolution, a change of mind, which shapes who we are and who we can become. This is an inner change, which indeed, it enables us to meet the challenges of more light, more clarity, and a vote of confidence. And in the process, we found out that our strength has always been there, hidden behind the layers of insecurities and doubts, just waiting for us to take the first step in order to retrieve it. Because, deep down, this is the biggest truth, the hidden, that we are capable of all of the things that we believe in. And this belief is born out in the courage to look inside and recognize who we really are. He writes that, a change, I now want to go more in depth on this topic, because they understand that the real strength is inside of you, is not just a matter of reflection, but it's a transformation that takes courage and a willingness to confront the things that a lot of times we would prefer to conceal. It's that time of the rupture of the masks fall off, my doubts disappear, and our lives began to emerge with greater clarity. And then, when you do this, you awaken. We begin to realize that our decisions have a direct impact on our journey of growth. Each and every choice we make is a fundamental building block in the construction of a new mindset, one that is closely aligned with this is the potential, which up until then, he was asleep. When we begin to understand the fear that many times, it's just an illusion created by an account that has been imposed on all switches in the figure below. It is as if a curtain was lifted up, revealing the fact that we are all stronger than we think. It is liberating because it gives us a chance to rewrite our history, the people, the limitations of which before seemed to be insurmountable. And that change starts in the mind, in the way we see the world, and more importantly, to ourselves. It's a great message, but very powerful. It transforms the way we think, and, as a result, our reality. When you look back, we can see that a lot of our own internal battles there is a story of fear and insecurity that we have learned too late. It's as if we loaded up a backpack full of weights, the invisible, which make it difficult for each and every step in the direction of our true nature. But the recognition of these scales, to understand where they're coming from, we can begin to release them one at a time. Each made a conscious decision to leave, a thought. A limiter is a win in our journey of self-discovery. And with each victory, we have strengthened our way of thinking, is to build a strong foundation for a lasting change. The impact of this change is not limited just to that part, but it echoes in every area of our lives. Relationships, career, health, emotional, all that is in the process of mental reconstruction. When we believe in our abilities, we have become active agents in our own history that are capable of shaping the future according to what you really want. This is one of the revelations of the deepest, which only a few have the courage to own up to it. We are all architects of our own destiny, even when the evidence seems to indicate otherwise. This understanding drives us to keep on going even in the face of adversity, because we know that the strength we need has always been within us, just waiting for a decision to turn it back on. And here comes a question that a lot of times it is hidden in our daily lives, which is the real reason behind the choices we make. Many don't stop to think about it, living on a routine control, the belief that success and happiness depend on external factors or circumstances that are beyond our control. But it is the truth that is hidden, that only comes to light after a voyage of self-discovery. It is that change happens from the inside to the outside. When we align our decisions with this in mind, we've created a sort of ripple effect that transforms every aspect of our lives, revealing the possibilities of it before seemed to be unattainable. Now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is the journey of transformation is not something that is linear and simple. It requires persistence, autoconviction, and a willingness for continuous learning and unlearning. Every day brings a new opportunity to strengthen the mindset of growth, challenge your limits, and embrace the unknown with courage. It is this constant search and discovery to find the true magic of the transformation. It is not a one-off event, but a daily practice, a decision to renew our strength and our beliefs, even when everything around us seems to indicate that we are stopping or looking back. In fact, this is the culmination foundation of a long-lasting impact. It is a solid construction and a sculpture that will be shaping up to each and every decision, every thought. And when you realize this, we realize that the power to change our reality is much closer than you think. Just make the first step, and with a spirit of courage and determination, by relying on the strength that has always been there inside of us, just waiting for the time to be turned on. And this is activated, this is the true transformation, is the one who leads us to discover who we really are and how far we can get when we choose to believe in our own power to change. He writes that, the truth hidden. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is the real journey of transformation is more than just the act of deciding to move, but realize that it all begins in our mind. Many of the times, the load-limiting beliefs that have been built over the years, and it's like a prison, to recognize that prevent us from moving forward. These beliefs are often rooted in childhood, or on the experience we have accumulated over the life course, and forming a sort of mental map that guides our decisions, our actions, and even our sense of self-worth. The highest revelation is that we can make is that many of these beliefs are nothing but the stories we tell ourselves, and that is, for the most part, are not absolute truths. They are truths because they insist on them, because the feed of these ideas repeated over and over again, and therefore, we have designed a kind of reality that seems set in stone. But what's more fascinating is that, after finding out that we are the authors of these narratives, we were able to reescribe them. This is a change that goes way beyond the book You Want Something a Little Different. It's about a profound change in the way we understand the world and how we see ourselves and how we believe that we can have an impact on our history. In that case, there is a truth to hide, that many people just can't see it from the beginning. The greater the resistance to change is within us, within our comfort zone. It is as if each and every one of our cells that were scheduled in order to avoid the discomfort of the new, the challenges to our daily lives. And as much as we know you get out of that comfort zone is a must in order to grow, a lot of times, the fear of the unknown is more high. This is the fear, and the fact that it was in doubt and uncertainty, thus creating a sort of invisible wall that seems insurmountable. However, when you can take it a step further, when we face that fear head-on, we realize that it is nothing more than a shadow that is created by our own insecurities. It is at this point that everything changes. A journey of self-discovery and reveals that the impact of our decision-making, it has to be a powerful force for shaping the future. For each choice, as small as it may seem, it is a very important part in the construction of our own destiny. And when you understand it, you start to realize that our life is a direct result of what we believe to be possible. If you believe that we can evolve and that we would fulfill our dreams, you automatically are turning to an inner strength that drives us to act, to persist, to endure the adversities of life. This is power. It is often invisible to the eye, but it is the source of all real. This is what makes an ordinary person, in the face of obstacles, to be able to reinvent yourself and achieve amazing results. A look behind the scenes of this change is the decision to challenge you and everything that is in the limits of the question, of the versions that we have for ourselves, and be open to the revelation that comes from the inside out. This opening is that it allows you to actually hidden, to be revealed. That is, we are much more than we believe it to be, and that the potential for growth is limitless, and that is the only real barrier that is not only in our own minds. This understanding opens the door to a new perspective on where your life is no longer a sequence of random events and is on a journey of conscious choice. And it is precisely this choice that we find the true power to change everything around, starting first of all with ourselves. To understand this, it is clear that the impact of our way of thinking, and it's something that goes far beyond what we could ever imagine. Every decision we make, every thought that we have cultivated, has a direct influence on our energy, our vibration, and our ability to attract the things you desire. And at the same time, this influence is not limited to ourselves. She is the echo behind the scenes of our lives, which had a positive impact on the people around us, the environment in which we live, the world in which we live. When we realize that we are part of a larger system and that our actions have a consequence, we can begin to take on more responsibility, and with a greater awareness of who is the real transformation begins from the inside to the outside. And that is, to change our way of thinking, we are, in fact, by activating a force that connects us with almost limitless possibilities. In this context, it is essential to understand that this is a journey of self-discovery, is a constant revelation. Each and every step that we take in the direction of growth, it is an opportunity to discover a new version of ourselves, to challenge the long-held beliefs, to rewrite the stories that appear to be saved in our lives. Every challenge, every decision that's up to, we're breaking down the layers of a father who has always been there, hidden beneath the surface, the power to change our reality, and it is our choice to believe in our willingness to take action and our ability to reinvent ourselves. And in doing so, leave behind the illusion that we are victims of our circumstances and we take ownership of our own history. He comments that the truth hidden. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is exactly at this moment that we realize how our way of thinking, and it has an impact that is almost invisible, but incredibly powerful, and in our journey of transformation. Have you ever stopped to think about it? A lot of times, Sometimes we carry within us the beliefs that seem to be harmless, but in reality they are the true anchors who break our growth. These beliefs may be rooted in me since childhood, fueled by past experiences, or even to outside influences such as the environment in which we live or the reviews that we have absorbed over time. The most intriguing is that, for the most part, you don't even realize how much they shape our daily decisions, our emotions, and most importantly, our ability to move forward. When we talk about transformation, we're talking about a shift in perspective. It's like a magnifying glass, which will need to be adjusted so that we can see in addition to what we believe to be possible. To switch on this lens is about having the courage, because you are to confront one's own limitations is a process that messes with the ego, the insecurities, and the old beliefs, which very often have given us some kind of security so that their safety was an illusion. But to take that step of the challenge and reshape our beliefs, we can begin to realize that many of the barriers that we thought it was external, and in fact, are built in, which is the fruit of a story that we've created in order to justify our fears, our doubts. And then comes the revelation that many of the people, only to find after a period of time in the journey, the more processing happens on the field of decision-making. You decide to change. It is an act of courage that defies all of the things that limit us. Don't you just want to? You have to act with intention, focus, and above all, with a mind ready to embrace the discomfort that comes along with that growth. This is the decision of rewriting our history. It often requires desmontemos old patterns of behavior, which is to face our own shadows, and they, at times, to meet the opinions of others who continue to keep us in the comfort zone. And in the process, and the truth concealed, is that the resistance that we feel, it is a sign that you are on the right track, because every change requires effort. When you think about it, we realize that the transformation is not a one-off event, but a continuous journey of self-discovery. Each and every choice we make, every decision, move forward or backwards, it reveals something about our deepest beliefs. And the more aware we are of this belief, the more able we are to act in a way that is aligned with your goals. It's as if you're building a new narrative, a story of which we are the protagonists of that. They decide to shape their own destiny. And it is this narrative, one that is used by more than it may seem simple. It carries an immense power, because it's powered by our own actions every day, by the small decisions we make each and every moment. At this point, a lot of people are starting to realize that it's the true transformation is not a silver bullet, or a change in an external, but an internal revolution. When we align with our beliefs, emotions, and actions, we create a synergy that enhances any effort to do this. It's like a domino effect, a small change in our way of thinking, and can bring a lot of new decisions, and new trends, and, as a result, a new life. And in this new reality, the more it seems distant at the beginning, becomes closer with every step we take, with purpose and clarity. At the same time, it is important to understand that this process is non-linear. There will be moments of doubt. It is the outcome of inquiry. But in those moments, when treated with honesty, they become opportunities for learning. The journey of transformation that is full of ups and downs, the revelations and the moments of silence, during which we will need to learn how to listen to our own inner voice, the one that often gets drowned out by the noise of the external reviews, or due to the fear of the unknown. In the silence, we can find the truth that was always there, waiting to be discovered, that we are capable of all of the things that we believe to be possible, provided that you choose to truly believe in and act in accordance with this truth. And, to further explore the background of this idea, we found that the change of the true, hidden, also refers to the impact that our actions have on the world around us. Each of our decision reverberates beyond ourselves, impacting lives, and inspire others to also become aware of the potential they hold. It's not just an individual journey, but also a transformation in the collective, where each in his own way contributes to a reality more self-aware, more empathetic, more in tune with what really matters to you. The secret lies in the courage to reveal the truth hidden from the face of the limits in front of you, and recognize that it is the greatest power of change is in our willingness to give that which binds us, and embrace that which makes us free. And so, as we continue to unravel the layers of this journey, it becomes evident that each step of authenticity is a statement of who we are, in fact, in control of our own destiny. The truth is hidden. It is that, in the end, it's about the choice to believe in our abilities, our strength, and our determination to build a new life, from the moment that we decided to turn our own stories. Because deep down, that this is the greatest revelation of all. That's the real power of change. It always has been inside of us, just waiting for the release of this potential. And with each discovery, this is sure to become stronger, feeding the desire to keep moving forward, to go and explore the behind the scenes of this transformation, is that, in its essence, it is a great message, but it makes a world of difference. He comments that, the truth hidden. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that's the true transformation, is not something that happens overnight, nor is it something that is solely dependent on external factors or circumstances that are favorable. In fact, it is born out of a decision by the interior of a change of mind that is often hidden under the layers of doubt, fear, and limiting beliefs. It's like a seed that, mindset, when planted in the fertile soil of your consciousness, begins to grow very slowly, even if it is not visible to the eye. And this material will only happen when we choose to look within, to confront our own truth, and to accept that we are responsible for the impact that you want to generate in our own lives. The journey of transformation that is above all a journey of self-discovery and deep. After all, you get to know who we are in fact. In addition to the mask, the expectations that are imposed by the world or the people around us is the first step to unlocking the potential that was always there, waiting for an opportunity to express their views. Often this opportunity comes through in the small everyday decisions that seem simple, but they have accumulated over time to create a real revolution in the house. Choice of position in the face of a challenge to resist the urge to give up, to tell you the truth, even if it's uncomfortable, or to take responsibility for their own learning. And it's at that point that comes to the matter of the mind. On the way we view the obstacles on the borders, and even our own failures, set the quality of the journey of change. In a growth mindset, for example, to transform the difficulties in the opportunities to learn, while a fixed mindset keeps us stuck in our comfort zones and avoid any possibility of progress. This change in perspective is one of the revelations of the most powerful that one can experience, because it changes all the time. Suddenly, what seemed like a wall of insurmountable turns into a ladder. Each step represents a decision to move on. Believe in it. It is possible that the effort is well worth it. At the same time, this transformation is quiet. It reveals something that lots of people don't realize. It is not a question of luck or other external factors, but also a close connection with the truth hidden in what we can, yes, to shape our own destiny right from the moment that we are in control of our own choices. And in this view alone, he has the power to impact everything around you. When we begin to recognize that we have the power, all of our decision-making will become more and more aware, more in line with what you truly desire, and therefore, more capable of creating lasting change. It's like a chain of small actions. They fit together perfectly, creating a new standard of living, a mindset, a new way of looking at the world. Each and every step of this journey, we are confronted with a revelation that it seems simple in theory, but in practice, requires the courage to be internalized and incorporated into the day-to-day. Find out what is the real power of change lies within us. It's liberating, because you get out of the condition of the victim's fate, placing it as the protagonists of our own story. This is, without a doubt, one of the greatest truths that are hidden that very few are willing to explore the truth. It takes courage to look within, to confront the things that sometimes we would prefer to conceal it. But it is precisely because of this confrontation, which is the growing of rice. Now, I want to go one step further in the subject line, because that understanding leads us to a crucial point in the final act. The change is, after all, that is not the case only for the understanding of the intellectual, but the action of a conscious, consistent, and persistent. Every decision that we make on the basis of this new perspective, it reinforces the new reality, and to give strength to our way of thinking and processing. And, in doing so, we realize that the impact that we make in our lives and in the lives of the people around us are, in fact, a direct result of that. We've decided to bring it and put it into practice. It's like a dance, a silent among ourselves, and which manifests itself externally, a connection, an invisible but powerful, that it is the very essence of our true potential. For this reason, it is crucial to understand that the journey is an everyday, made up of little deeds. The choices are aware of the fact that, as a whole, they have the power to create lasting change. And at the same time, this requires patience, because the most far-reaching transformation is not one for the second time. It is a constantly evolving, fueled by a desire to get to know you better, to challenge your own limits, and to believe, in fact, that is within each and every one of us is a never-failing source of strength and creativity. This is the source. When it is accessed, it gives a feeling of freedom and a power that very few are able to try on before we go through the process of self-discovery. And, if you think about all of this, we realized that the revolutions happening behind the scenes of our minds, our emotions, and our decision-making, and intimate. This is where the change begins. It's silent, but huge on impact. And as long as this transformation is revealed little by little, I'm beginning to understand that the path isn't a straight line, but it's a journey of discovery contained, where in each step, however small it may seem to you, it's a statement that we are in control of our own destiny. That's the beauty of it, to realize that the power to change, it always has been inside of us, just waiting for us to decide to release it. We will choose to act with courage and determination. He comments that, the truth hidden. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that's the true transformation doesn't just happen on the surface. It reveals itself in layers, the innermost of one's mind and heart. It was there, at the very core of who we are, in fact, that the decisions of the most important decisions are taken. And all too often, the most difficult thing is to see that truth is hidden. It is hidden under the veil of our own certainty, fears, and limitations. When you begin to immerse yourself in the universe within, we realize that it prevents us from moving forward. It's not a lack of resources, but a battle is silent about what goes on inside of us. A lot of the old mindset, which insists on keeping us in a comfort zone, and in the new approach, which he calls us to go on a journey of self-discovery and evolution. It is at this point that the signs are starting to emerge, often in unexpected ways. You can be a souvenir of a sentence, a sense that something needs to change, or even a question who dares to get in your head. These minor roads are, in fact, the first signs that we are awakening to a new reality. The truth is hidden. It is often that we are the very architects of our own destiny, but most of you lose to that consciousness, in the middle of the road, distracted by the opinions of others, fear of failure, or the routine in her each and every dream come true. To change this narrative is about having the courage to challenge these limiting beliefs, to doubt what you've learned, and, above all, to take responsibility for every decision. It is not a change that comes from one day to the next. It is built up gradually, with small actions that, taken together, they create a long-lasting impact. Each and every choice we make, every thought that we have cultivated, it is like a seed that germinates and grows within us to shape who we are and who we can become. And, in the process, the analysis becomes our best ally. After all, if we are faithful to our true self, your life will unfold with more lightly on the planet, purpose, and impact. If you believe that the processing has also it's a matter of mindset, we can begin to understand that it all begins with a change of perspective. It is as though all of a sudden the fog, which obscured from our eyes Musashi, leaving for a new opportunity to take action. And this new view will often reveal as much as we are caught up in the thoughts of the automatic feeding of doubt and insecurity, the freedom, and it is precisely in our ability to reprogram these patterns and to create new narratives that reinforce our inner strength. It's like a silent revolution in which each made a conscious decision. It is a statement that we're the authors of our own itinerary. On that day, the behind the scenes of your mind, if you make it to the big stage. From there, the emotions, beliefs, and past experience working as the lead actors. Get to know these behind the scenes is essential to understand some of the actions seem to be so difficult, or why they have certain limitations that seem to be insurmountable. But at the same time, this is the place where you can take action to rewrite our history. When we are able to see beyond the mask that we wear to hide our insecurities, we can begin to wake up to a force that seemed to be asleep or somewhere. A force that, in fact, it has always been there, just waiting for the chance to be ignited by a sincere decision to change. And, at a deeper level, we found that the impact of this change is not confined to ourselves. It echoes in the environment, the people around us, in the way we see the world, and all the possibilities it has to offer. With each step forward with courage, authenticity, and impact, in any way, to the life of someone who is also in search of their own truth, they are influenced by different factors. It's a chain wake-up, is a journey of transformation, which extends from the point at which we have decided to take over the control. And so the story continues by revealing what the true power lies in our desire to explore the deepest in all of us. He comments that, the truth hidden. I now want to go more in depth on this topic, because they understand that the connection between our choices and the transformation of the interior is like uncovering a secret that some people prefer to keep hidden. When you stop to think about the choices we make every day, we see that they hold a tremendous potential to impact not only our career, but also the way in which we view the world around us. Each and every decision, however small it may seem to you, it's like a seed that germinates and grows in shaping who we are and who we can become. This is of a truth that hides many of the tower. The true change starts within ourselves, in our mind, in our ability to see beyond the surface and question what we've been taught as right and wrong. Over the course of the journey, we found out that a lot of times we carry limiting beliefs, the ones that were planted by a past experience, education, or even by external influences. That is, without realizing it, they had created a sort of invisible wall around our power. And here comes the importance of the transformation of aware, to understand that we can rewrite this narrative, one that we can choose new ways, and above all, that we all have the power to release the things that binds us. This release is not something that happens in an hour or so to the other one, but it's a process that requires the courage to face your own shadows. You accept our imperfections, and at the same time, the recognition of our strength. During this journey, many of the revelations come behind the scenes of your own mind. You start to realize that the limit is not the external circumstances, but the stories that we tell ourselves about our circumstances. It is as if, for each obstacle, you'd be an opportunity in disguise, a chance to learn something new about who you are and what you really want. This change in perspective is one of the major revolutions of the internal, and anyone can experience it, because it allows us to see possibilities where before, you could only see the obstacles. And in doing so, we opened up the space for true authenticity, one that arises from within, and without the masks and facades. From the moment we begin to understand this dynamic, it all becomes clear that our actions have a direct impact on our way of development. And this impact is not just about reaching goals and external, such as financial success or recognition, but when it comes to the construction of a mentality that is robust, able to withstand the storms and keep the focus on the core. It is a question of the impact of procedure turn when he and a limited opportunity for growth. The more we push this thought, the more we realize that the greatest strength is in our willingness to explore explore all that is deepest within us, to confront our own hidden truths, and to make choices that are in line with this new understanding. It is liberating because it gives you the power to reinvent ourselves at any time, to break the cycles that seem to be repetitive, to create a new reality based on our authenticity. And at the same time, it is a call for courage, the courage to look within, and the courage to accept what you find there, and the courage to take the next step, even when everything seems to be up in the air. At this time, the journey of transformation to become a real adventure in a constant search for self-knowledge and a much deeper connection with our life's purpose. And as we continue on this trajectory, it is clear that every decision in life is a key piece in the puzzle that makes up who we are to the truth. He comments that, the truth hidden. So, are you going to be discovering in this way, reminding us that each and every step, however small it may seem to you, it makes all the difference in our evolution. If you've come this far, it's because you're really investing in yourself and in recognition of the value of a get to know you better. I would like to invite you to subscribe to the channel. Here we seek to deliver content that makes no sense. It brings about the reflection and helps to transform our daily tasks in a mild form, and it is true. Leave a comment saying, "I'm with you till the end of love," or anything that shows that you think about until the very end. It has helped me to understand just how much of this content makes no sense to you. And, of course, if you like what you watched, a like has always reinforced that connection that we build in the course of the movie. After all, this trade-off is that it makes it all the more special and incentive to keep bringing you the topics that make sense for your trip. And don't miss a beat, there's a video right here on the side, which complements this subject matter, and it can help you to dig deeper in this discussion. With just one click, and follow me on there, because that is the path of self-discovery is an adventure that deserves to be explored slowly and out of curiosity. Thank you for being with me this far, and I'll see you in the next video, where we are going to continue finding out more about who we are, in fact.